episode of the season 4 of the We Talk series. A new day, a new leader, and most importantly, a new conversation. That's what makes this series so exciting. The We Talk brings to you the most prominent voices of the HR leaders who are donning the changemakers hat at their respective organizations as they share their precious experiences and insights on and around the HR ecosystem. So joining us today is Ravish Saily, Head HR Global Delivery Center at Syngenta. A brief introduction about him before we start our conversation. Ravish brings with him nearly 2 decades of strategic expertise and functional capabilities in diverse industries. He has a proven record of consistently building a great place to work with high engagement and productivity. In the past, Ravish has worked for prominent corporate brands such as MasterCard, NatWest, Reliance Industries, Godrej and Boyce, and Tata Motors. And most importantly, he is an avid sportsman and a travel enthusiast. With that, a very warm welcome to today's conversation, Ravish. It is indeed a delight to have you with us today.
Thank you, Besaki. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ravish. Looking forward to an interactive discussion. And to start off with today's discussion, my first question for you would be, as we all know that owing to COVID and certain other ongoing instances, the industry, there has been a rapid change the way how organization has been working for the past few years. So I'm curious to know that how is your industry tackling the changes that the workplace has gone through over the past couple of years? If you can share some of your thoughts on that to start off with.
Sure, Besaki. So even though COVID was a very challenging period for the world and a lot of us personally, but it also challenged our paradigm thinking process. Suddenly we were uh, thinking whether all employees can work from home and can we still be productive? And in that kind of a scenario, we looked at what is required by the business and what is required by the employee, and tried to look at not just the present but also look at the future, because decisions we take today can impact the culture of the future. So when we talk about the business needs, we realize that each business within Syngenta has a different need. For example, operation shop would require people to come more often together, especially say during the month ends, to work together and collaborate. Whereas functions like IT and digital work with global stakeholders and they're fine to work from home more often. So we wanted to design a framework which works well for all. And we started creating personas depending on the roles that are available in the organization. And personas were important because we wanted to have consistent practices across the organization. Otherwise, if similar roles are put into different work profiles, or then it can lead to a lot of disengagement within the teams. So we created personas, we worked with the leadership team, tagged role to these personas, and we came up with working models which was offsite. So people who are required to permanently work from home, these are the people who are based out of India, but all their stakeholders are global. So they just happen to work out of India, but they're doing a global role. So those are tagged to permanent offsite. There were roles which were tagged to on-site. These are the people who are required for business continuity, like IT support, administration, who are required to run the business. They were required to be in office all days of the week. And then there was a hybrid, people who are required to work from home for some time and work from office for some time. And like I said, each business has a different requirement. So within hybrid, we have different categories. For example, IT and digital rules can come just 5 days a quarter, maybe to meet their stakeholders, to come for learning and engagement kind of initiatives. There are other rules which come for 5 days a month. And then the operations rule, which come twice a week. So that's the kind of model we have adopted so far, and we keep reviewing it. And we are finding it. We are finding our employees more engaged. Productivity is also at the desired level. So it's working well for us so far.
Thank you. It's great to know how Syngenta as an organization has grappled with the changes that has come along. So Ravish, this kind of leads me to my next question that talking about, changing workplace culture, that is one thing. Parallelly, there is another thing that's kind of an ongoing thing right now that we keep talking about, that is the talent war. So according to you and your industry demands, what type of skill shortage do you think is causing the talent war?
So basically, Syngenta is one of the largest agriculture companies in the world. The part of the business which I am in is the captive. So where we do not hire from the agriculture industry, but we hire largely from the service industry. And the kind of roles which we see are easy to attract are the operations role. And they don't demand any premium in the market. And these are roles are easily replaceable with technology. So with the new technologies coming in, slowly these kinds of roles are becoming uh, maybe obsolete in certain cases. The roles where we are finding it a little challenging is technology roles and techno-functional roles. So in technology roles also, these are the niche technologies which are very difficult to find. There's a supply-demand mismatch still, and that's difficult to hire. And also now each function itself has a lot of technology people sitting in it. So be it finance, be it HR, be it procurement, they have their own technology team working on a lot of automations within their functions. These roles, again, we find it very difficult, a combination of people who have functional expertise plus who are technology savvy. So that's the bracket we find it difficult. And another bracket bucket we find it difficult to hire is leadership roles. So people who can lead large number of teams, who can set the culture, who can drive productivity. So those kinds of cultural fits who are fit for future of what we look at Syngenta is also difficult to find. So I think these are the two kind of buckets of roles which we find difficult to hire for.
Okay. So Ravish, when we talk about talent, one thing that cannot go unseen is skills. Like we keep on talking about how skill set has become so crucial, especially in the current times. So how do you see the importance of soft skill evolving in the future, be it your industry specific or overall in general? What's your take on that?
So basically, if being in HR, we are privileged to see a lot of careers around us. So if I look from that lens, I think the roles in future will have three kinds of prominent features to it. One, like I said, will be technical roles. And look at any function, any industry, automobile industry, banking industry, pharma industry, they are all are for that matter agriculture. We are not just an agriculture company, we call ourselves agri tech company. So each industry itself is having a lot of technology roles, each function within. For example, HR, have these days a lot of engineers working for us. And going forward, there will be more architects, engineers working on newer technology, integrating HR systems and processes with the newer technology. So one clearly will be a lot of technology roles which will evolve. And the newer generation, which is the technology native, they're born with technology around them. They will be best adapt at managing those kinds of roles. The second set of roles will be functional experts. For example, if I'm in HR, a compensation and benefit role, employee wellness role, if I'm in marketing, branding role, finance controller, or a treasury role. So these are functional experts who, through their functional knowledge, are able to make decisions which will have uh, impact on the business outcomes. And the third role, which the soft skills you spoke about comes in, is the leadership roles. People who will be able to drive the culture of the organization, who will be good at coaching, who will be good at networking, getting people along, people who are good people managers. And I think these people will be coming at a premium because you won't find a lot of people. Everywhere you will see technology, people who are equipped at managing technology, and this will be the differentiator between the companies, because every company will be able to buy technology, same technology. They will have people implementing the technology, but the leadership will make the difference. The kind of culture the leadership is able to make, get people along. So I think that will come as a premium. And people who have been in the industry for now, if they are able to hone that those skills, then they will be best equipped to fit into those kinds of roles.
Thank you for throwing some light on one of the pertinent topics. So, Ravish, apart from talent, apart from work, changing workspace, another very important thing that has come into the light in the recent days is the diversity and the inclusion part. So, can you please throw some light on your DE&I agenda? How, as an organization, you are ramping up that? What are the focus areas for for the days to come? If you can share your thoughts on that.
Sure, Besaki. So in my experience, DEI, when I being in HR, these were the initiatives which we started taking because globally that was a trend. But in my personal experience, I've seen that it has a huge impact on the business itself. The engagement levels are much higher for a diverse workforce. The productivity is much higher. The kind of innovation which will come out will be much higher for a diverse workforce. The way we have looked at our DEI journey is first it starts with diversity. So we need to hire diverse workforce. As so a lot of focus is on talent acquisition, and we look at gender first of all. How do we build a pipeline of talent at all levels where we have more women representation? Last year we started with people with disability talent. So hiring PWD, and then region. So earlier we used to hire from Pune and in and around that region. Now we have started going to say northeast, eastern part, because then each region brings with it a different perspective. So region is another thing we focus on, and uh, financially disadvantaged employees. So there are a lot of students who, because of financial background, don't get the kind of opportunities that maybe other privileged kids may get. They are not able to upskill themselves in these areas. So we have tied up with a partner where we kind of get these students from rural areas, upskill them, and hire. So that's our diversity landscape. How do we get in diverse talent? So at least first you have diverse talent in, and then you can work on equity and inclusion. Equity, the way we see is each and every employee group may have a different need. And how do you provide and meet their needs so they have a level playing field? For example, if you have a women employee, and equity is taken care through a lot of your policies and processes, like diversity is taken through talent acquisition, equity is taken care through policies and processes. For example, if you have a women employee and she is going on a mat leave, how do you ensure she gets a fair rating? When she comes back, how do you ensure she gets the role she was in back? How do you ensure that your policies support her during that leave period? That's one example. For example, one of my team members got promoted when she was on mat leave. We reevaluated her role and found that role to be at next level, and she got promoted during her mat leave. When we did the PWD hiring, people with disability, we ensured that our infrastructure was equipped to support PWD talent to operate effectively. So that's about equity, which comes from policy framework for each of these groups. And last is inclusion, which is about the culture where each of us feels uh, good in their skin. They don't need to change to fit into a particular culture. I can be myself, you can be yourself, and that's encouraged. So the way we have worked upon is first it starts with awareness, because sometimes we are not aware of our biases. So it starts with creating awareness, and then it moves on to building the culture through a lot of initiatives you take, learning interventions, consistently communicating, leadership walking the talk. So that's how our DEI journey has been so far, Baisakhi.
Lovely to hear how, as an organization, you have taken so many steps to actually walk the talk. It's amazing to hear that. So, Ravish, this kind of intrigues me to ask kind of a very important question. That is, whatever an organization does, uh, it directly or indirectly has a huge impact on the employer branding, because at the end of the day, the employer branding is something that makes or breaks an organization. So I would love to know that if you can shed some light on your employer branding strategy now that you have taken so many new initiatives also in the past years, and how it has evolved in this last few years.
So basically, like I said, we are the agriculture company. We are known very well in the agriculture industry by farmers and retailers and dealers in that space. But the business I am part of is the captive, and we hire from the service industry. And in the service industry, we are not a very well-known brand. And on an average, we hire around 300, 350 employees for this captive. So we are not a big employer as well. So we cannot go big bang on our employer branding. Um, so the approach we have adopted is, first of all, we have defined our employee value proposition. So when we go to the market, how are we to be perceived? What is our marketing pitch? And EVP was defined basis interacting with employees, interacting with multiple leaders, and asking them what is that unique value proposition about Syngenta that binds us together. And basis that we have created an employee value proposition, and that's what we will take to the market. And now, because we cannot be we have limited forums to reach out to because our hiring is not large. So we have created personas. For example, if we have a experienced candidate whom we want to hire, we'll map their entire journey. And this is still work in progress. We'll map their entire journey. So when we reach out to them, they will first look at our job description. What is the job description conveying to them about our brand? Have we thought about it? Then when they go and search uh, about us on the net, what do they read? What do they listen about us? Have we covered that area well? When the interviews happen, what kind of brand experience do we give? When they get offer letter, what the offer letter talks about. When they come to induction, for example, we are doing a high tech onboarding now, which is use of technology. Now we are doing away with a lot of manual inductions which were happening. So we are mapping that entire journey for this persona. Similarly, another persona will be campus hires. So right from their college days, how can we start connecting with them? And internship, final placements, how do we map that entire, what's their need? What's our EVP, and how do we map that entire journey? So that has been our approach to employee value, to the employer branding. And we are creating a set of brand ambassadors within the company. So when we design a marketing campaign, employer branding campaign, they can then cascade it through the social media to the larger world and their contacts. That's been our approach so far, Vaisakhi.
Lovely to hear the journey that as an organization you have undertaken. So this kind of wraps us our conversation for the day. Thank you so much, Ravish, for sharing your fantastic knowledge with us, and mention not, I absolutely loved conversing with you today. So for our audiences, I would like to say thank you once again for joining us today. We will be back with yet another exciting conversation next week. So till then, all of you keep talking.